Alright, here for the last round. Hopefully we can salvage and not embarrass ourselves too badly. This hand's pretty great, especially if he is just playing a creature-based deck. Leading with Death right into Pyromancer Bolt is awesome. Looks like he's mulling to 5. And just get Underground Sea. There's arguments to be made for getting Tropical Island, just in case he, plays a guy that we get to kill. If he's playing Burn or something, being able to gain life would be sweet. But we do have black spells in our deck that we may need to cast, so I think getting the Underground is pretty obvious, but worth talking about. Alright. Another blue-white deck, I guess. Maybe just mono blue. I would like to see some copies of Power Blast in the main deck in this deck. Being able to fight over opposing counter spells is pretty important sometimes. Well, he shuffled his Ponder. I'm not sure what that could mean. I guess we will play Pyromancer and then cast Cabal Therapy if it resolves. If our Pyromancer resolves. He may force it, and whatever card he pitches may give us some clue as to what he's playing. Alright, so he's pitching Jace the Mind Sculptor. So yeah, I'm just gonna name Brainstorm, I think. Alright, 2 Stone Forges and a counterspell. So we can just flashback here on Deathrite Shaman and name Stoneforge Mystic. It's not a terrible play. But if we draw a land, we can cast Jace. So, and next turn, if he draws a land and passes, and then we draw a land, we can float a mana, sack Cabal Therapy. But yeah, for now, if he's just going to cast Stoneforge Mystic and not sit on Counterspell, if we draw a land, we can play Jace and just bounce Stoneforge Mystic, or we can potentially Brainstorm and then sacrifice Deathrite Shaman. So we have a lot of avenues. So we got Jite. So that's something we can name. Alright, drew another Cabal Therapy. I guess I can just bolt this. And then Therapy away Counterspell. That leaves him with a Jite and a Stoneforge. Next turn, if he plays Stoneforge and gets Batterskull, we can just Therapy away the Batterskull, or we could potentially draw a removal spell. Alright, cool. So we'll go ahead and just play Jace. Let's see. I guess now. Oh yeah, it was a Bloodstained Mire, so we actually can't get Tropical Island, which kind of stinks, but it's not a huge deal. Exile his Scalding Tarn. Resolve this Jace, and then probably take away his Batterskull. Alright, 2 lands. Yeah, I think that's okay. We don't care too much about the Jite right now. Yeah, so he drew another Stoneforge Mystic, so that's fine. As long as we take away his equipment. He might just cast Jite and attack Jace for 1. I'm perfectly okay with that. Or just flashing in the Jite is also okay. I guess we'll brainstorm again. We could bounce the Stoneforge Mystic. I'm not a huge fan of that play. We drew a lightning bolt, which is fine. I guess we want to keep... I guess we don't actually need the Deathrite Shaman anymore, so we can just play Dig Through Time and get rid of that. I'm going to wait for him to equip. We do want to keep the Cabal Therapy in the yard, so we'll probably just wait for him to equip, cast Bolt on the Stoneforge, and then cast Dig Through Time. Saving the Brainstorm since the top two cards are not anything that we really want. Alright, well, I guess he's just going to cast another Stoneforge Mystic. It's fine. It's going to be pretty hard for us to lose this game. Maybe he has Click in hand? Alright. I guess he drew Click. Maybe he drew a Dig Through Time of his own. That would stink. Leave everything that we can. Yep. Dig of his own is pretty gross. If he has Pyroblast, he gets to hit it. Gets to counter our dig. We are basically... he has two cards. We have, you know, Jace. Well, I guess... a Fluster... or not Fluster. Pyroblast, he might just kill Jace in response, actually. And let me resolve Dig Through Time. That'd probably be a better play overall. Alright, cool. So we're going to take Force of Will to make sure that we don't end up losing to something random. And I guess Fire Ice, because it can cycle. It can also kill his Stoneforge Mystic if we need it to. Just depends on what he does over the next few turns. We basically just want things that can potentially be unique. Alright. We're at a high enough life total. We're just going to basically try to brainstorm a little deeper into our deck. Yeah, True Name is actually kind of bad if it resolves. So we kind of need to find a creature. Alright, we don't... I guess having two forces is not that bad. I want to potentially Ponder next turn. So, to basically give us a shuffle since it's a more unique effect. Probably just going to go pitch Force, and then if he draws a blue card, he's going to Force back, and we'll pitch another Force. Yeah, so he drew land, so we're not even going to have that fight this turn. If you play Stoneforge Mystic instead of True Name, then we'll just play Fire on it. He's playing True Name. We'll pitch a Brainstorm, I guess, since we have another Brainstorm and a Jace active. It's so hard to lose with an active Jace. Card is just so powerful. Alright, well, we don't really need the Murderous Cut. We're going to shuffle away these cards more than likely. Young Pyromancer is great. And we can even Brainstorm and take away... I guess we could just take away his Force of Will. That way, there's no way for us to lose a Counter War later. And the Stoneforge Mystic doesn't get anything, and we have a Lightning Bolt to kill it. And a Fire Ice, so... Alright, so ripped his hand apart. Have an active Pyromancer with Force backup. We get to untap, Bolt something, and have Counterspell backup. Yeah, the odds of us losing this game are pretty small. And since we have the young Pyromancer now, we will have a much faster clock by just brainstorming every turn and finding spells, as opposed to ticking up Jace to try to use his ultimate. So we also have a couple death rights, which we can cast this turn if we want. I think we want one of them. We're not going to dig through time this turn. We can maybe dig through time next turn. So we'll go Deathrite Shaman, bolt this, hold up Counterspell, and Force Will. Yeah, Jace has just this big steamroll effect. It's pretty tough to beat once it gets going. Yep, it's another Stoneforge Mystic. That's fine. We can just play Fire Ice on that. Get it out of the way. I think that's all 4. Yep. Yeah, I hate Stoneforge decks too sometimes. Let's do 2 to the Stoneforge, clear it out, so we can keep attacking. Brainstorm, maybe shuffling with Ponder. Dak Fading can still GT, that's kind of cool. Alright. We can still play Counterspell and Force of Will, since we have the Deathrite active. This deck's pretty sweet sometimes. I assume he would concede here, but maybe he's trying to use up a bunch of my clock. Probably should have left up Underground Sea so we had the option to just -2 or deal 2 damage to him with Deathrite. Alright. So, basically same as last round, I suppose. Just bring in, I don't know, maybe we want to keep in Force of Wills to fight over True Name and Jace, and dig through time. Therapy still seems fine. Maybe we don't want all 4. The Dak Fading could be good to steal GT, but again, I don't know how relevant that is. Jace is obviously very good. The Fire Ice doesn't seem great. We're also going to trim a Bolt. The Counterspells, I think he's much more of a tempo deck than we are, so maybe we don't want access to Counterspell because it's kind of clunky. And, like, we can't really afford to sit back on 2 mana a lot of times. Click seems okay. Pyroblast seems good. Still have to cut 3 cards. Maybe just trim a Murderous Cut. I think I'm going to trim the Counterspells. I want to use most of my mana every turn, and I want to leave in Force of Will since it can gain us a huge tempo advantage, or get us caught back up. A free way to help us resolve Dig Through Time is good. Alright, this hand's great. Alright, Force makes it a little bit better. Now we can hopefully resolve our young Pyromancer and maybe protect it. Alright, no Stoneforge is actually fine. We don't really want to fight over that right now. Alright, we're going to go ahead and try to cast Young Pyromancer. We're not too terribly worried about it getting counterspelled. And if it resolves, we get to probe and make a token. And we may not fight over a Swords to Plowshares. Don't really want our Force of Will to get hit with a red Elemental Blast at this stage. Or a Power Blast. think I'm okay with that. The Brainstorm has a lot of value later. Yep, and he had the Power Blast, so that's good. So, Zone, Forge, Mystic, Dig, Force, Pyro, Island. Alright, this should be a serious grind. Luckily, it's very hard for him to counter Ancient Grudge since it has Flashback. So if he goes for Stone Forge Mystic, holding up Pyroblast, yeah, we just let that happen. Hopefully next turn he flashes in a Batterskull, and then we just grudge it. We could potentially fight over it, but we want him to use his Power Blast on his turn, basically, and he's gonna hit this Brainstorm. He may not. He may choose not to, honestly. And he's just main phase fetching so that there's not a point where he, you know, gets a blue spell cast on him in response. So we're gonna play our Deathrite Shaman, and we may Brainstorm on his upkeep. I think I'll just wait though. I don't want him to have full information. He may not even put in the Batterskull. I assume he will though. But if he does, we get to grudge it and flash it back so he can't force. Alright, that's actually good. I don't want to shuffle away any of this except for the land. Not even too upset about the land. So it's kind of a weird spot. I don't really want to Pyromancer this turn because then he gets to go grudge, or sorry, he gets to counter my stuff. I think we'll just pass, play grudge, hopefully. Yep. Alright, so getting this out of the way is great for us. And it's obviously not blue, so we can't Pyroblast it. I guess he could have force blue card, and Pyroblast. That would be pretty good. Alright. Well, guess we don't know the top cards of our deck because we fetched, so we can Brainstorm here and be okay with that. Let's see. Play Pyromancer. I know there's a Bolt on top. I kind of want to make sure that I have it, just in case. Maybe it's okay to fetch away. So he's going to force here, pitching another force. So we know his hand is Dig Through Time, Pyroblast, and 2 random cards. Alright, I'm going to cast a Brainstorm here, I think, in response. Get another Volcanic. And we have the Deathrite right now. I'm going to use that over either the Trop or the Volcanic, so we make sure that he can't, like, do some weird trick. It's hard to explain. Like, sometimes you're in a position with something like Deathrite Shaman where if they kill it, you're forced to activate it, and then you can't use your mana at the very specific time where you need to activate it. Or you aren't able to cast your spell at the very specific time where you are trying to cast your spell. If we draw a Power Blast here, that would be awesome, because then we get to Brainstorm into Power Blast. Power Blast Force of Will. He can't Power Blast back. Don't really want Deathrite. Basically just want to be able to double Force of Will. Maybe we don't need to double Force of Will this turn. We don't really want to pitch the Jace, so we can put Deathrite on bottom, Jace next. I'm just going to bolt this guy. And I assume he's not going to fight over it. Force resolves, counters Pyromancer. Now, we're left with a board that's pretty decent, but he does have Dig Through Time, but if he casts it, we're going to want to force it. I guess we want to force this too. I guess we could have let that resolve. That might have been a mistake. We could have let that resolve, but the problem is, if at any point, like, now he's just going to cast Dig Through Time while I'm tapped out, which is a reasonable play. But if we don't Force Will there, he gets the Power Blast or Force Will on his Dig Through Time, and it just gets significantly worse over time. So our top card is Jace. If he taps out for something, then we can cast our Jace, which is nice. True Name Nemesis would be quite bad for us, but we still have the Ancient Grudge, so it's not that bad. Alright, well, now I really wish I had Deathrite Shaman to play this turn. But I'm going to hold up. I'm not going to cast my Jace in the Power Blast. I'd rather him potentially tap out for his own Jace, and then me force pitch Jace. Yep, well, we have to let that resolve. Still don't want to get Power Blasted. Can't draw our own, unfortunately. And, Deathrite Shaman is pretty good against True Name Nemesis, since you don't need to use the red zone, and you have the option to either race them with damage or gain life to keep from dying. Pretty awkward spot here. Blood Moon? Well, we can't really beat that card. I guess this is as good time as any to force. Can't cast our Jace anymore anyway. And he doesn't have Power Blast up, so I don't know. It seemed weird. I think I have to do that, otherwise my Deathrite looks pretty bad against True Name. But maybe we'll draw something good. Alright, well, that was actually a really good draw. We're gonna Therapy him, take away his Power Blast at the very least. Maybe something else. Take away Power Blast. He has Red Elemental Blast and Spell Snare, so that's one reason why you mix those up. Cobalt Therapy. Alright, we're going to attack with these. I actually think I might be able to race him with damage since I have Bolt in my deck. We're going to go ahead and take his other Red Elemental Blast and leave him with Spell Snare. We have a lot of draws that are not 2-drops. Basically, Young Pyromancer and Ancient Grudge. And if he draws Jite naturally, that could be bad for us because he can Spell Snare our Grudge. But alright, well, we keep drawing Therapy. I think I might actually gain 2 life this turn instead of attacking, since he's at 12 right now. Alright, we'll take a Spell Snare so that our Grudge can resolve against Jite. He's left with just Arid Mesa. I'm gonna go ahead and save time and gain 2 life by eating Pyromancer. Oh, that was stupid. Now if he just draws Jite, I'm dead. And he has a land, and he drew Brainstorm, so now he has 3 shots at it. Man, that was stupid. Forgot about this Grudge sitting over here. Alright, well, he didn't have it, so that's great. Probably just has a bunch of lands. He might be sitting on like a Plow or Counterspell or something. Hopefully it's not Jace. Might be a Ponder. He just wants to fetch and play Ponder. Council's Judgment. Alright. That's not good for us. We're on a pretty stiff clock here from True Name. We're at 9. Need to draw something good. Dig Through Time would be great. Click is not terrible. It's not good though. I guess we can draw Click into our own Jite. We're gonna hit him during his draw step, I guess. It's not imperative that our Click resolve, but we're at such a low life total that I'm not sure we're going to be able to get out of this regardless, since we don't actually have ways to interact with a resolved True Name Nemesis. I guess I should have played land. That way if I draw Dig Through Time, I can dig into land Jite. Well, we drew another land, so we're dead. True Name Nemesis. Hell of a card. Yeah, just no way to interact with it, which kind of sucks. I'm going to trim down on therapy a little, maybe just go down to 2 of them. I felt like I drew a reasonable amount of interaction. I just flooded out at the end there, and like he resolved Dig and I didn't. That was a big thing. His True Name, me just not having any answer to True Name in my deck, just sucked pretty bad. We're going to start off here with a Ponder, looking for a land, and hopefully go turn 2 Pyromancer. Actually, no, I could just turn 1 Therapy and try to draw a land naturally. Just could start with a Therapy and name Brainstorm. It's usually a good bet. People keep hands with Brainstorm and a bunch of bad stuff a lot, and we hit 2 of them. Alright, cool. Well, we get 2 Brainstorms. His hand is pretty good still. Ponder, Spell Snare, Lightning Bolts, Volcanic Island, and Tundra. So we can't resolve our young Pyromancer, even if we draw land. Guess we'll Ponder. No land. Even though all those cards are great, need a land really bad. You drew Arid Mesa. Okay. Alright, well, we drew a land. I guess that's not terrible. We can still force pitching Click, which is nice. We don't care too much about Ponder. Not sure what to do here. Like, if I play Pyromancer, he's definitely going to Spell Snare. I don't really want to Force a Will it. I guess I can ponder Deathrite and think about casting Cabal Therapy. Alright, that's actually a good chain next turn. So we'll cast Deathrite Shaman, and we don't really want him to bolt it. We just want to get rid of his Spell Snare now. Alright, so he has Dig and Snapcaster Mage and Bolt. Man, those 2 good draw steps. Ponder and a draw step, rather. Okay, well, this is going to be tough to fight through. But, we may be able to win this fight. He can always fetch Dig through time now. Like, I don't even really want to fight over the Young Pyromancer staying alive. I just want to go force and pitch and get his Dig through time. Now, if he just goes fetch Dig here, looking for an answer, we're just going to... actually, he might Snapcaster Mage. Yeah, we're just going to counter that. We'll pitch the click. And then just probe twice. And it's a little awkward because next turn he gets to dig and cast Bolt and stop our thing. Alright, so Strand, Bolt, and dig. Now if we hit a fetch land here and can Power Blast, that would be absurd. Nope. Alright, well that stinks, but at least we're gonna hopefully end up with GTA in play with 2 tokens. But yeah, he's just gonna Bolt, probably main phase dig. Keep losing these battles, but hopefully we win the war. I would very much like to draw a Dig Through Time myself, not gonna lie. I really want to draw a land here right now though, so I can play GTA and hold up Power Blast. Well, still didn't do it. I really don't want him to play True Name Nemesis. So I think I just have to hold up for Power Blast. Just really need to draw another land. Yeah, I just don't care about Brainstorm right now, honestly. Especially an end of turn Brainstorm, so he has to make sure he draws at least one of those cards. He has too many cards that he can tap out for that really punish me. True Name being one of them. Played a weird game here, not gonna lie. The turn 1 therapy over Ponder was strange, but we ended up hitting, which was awesome. So now if we get counterspelled, we're in some trouble. I'm assuming he just has Plow Rev as his last 2 cards. Would make sense. I guess Brainstorm, whatever. It's unlikely he has Spell Snare and Spell Pierce in his deck, especially after board. Spell Snare is pretty strong. Alright, good. Got that off the table. That's nice. Alright, well I guess we have to... First verse, same as the first. Or second verse, same as the first. Just hold up for Power Blast again. Keep beating him down for 2. The problem here is that we're falling really far behind as far as like... He's getting to spend a ton of mana every turn. and we're not. And now we're getting Blood Mooned. That stinks. Yeah, we just have to... I guess no, we can still cast Bolt. We can still cast all of our spells. Yeah, alright, that's fine. We can't cast blue spells anymore. Basically, we just want to draw any land so we can play Pyromancer and hold up Pyroblast. And we have Bolt still. And we can cast Jite. So Blood Moon not as disastrous for us this game as it could have been, since we've already cast a ton of blue cards. Now, any blue card we draw after this is going to be dead, but except for Probe and potentially Force of Will. But we have Bolt at the ready and Pyroblast. I can Bolt him and get another guide. That'll put him to 8. But right now we're attacking for 4, putting him to 7, and then Bolt is mostly lethal. So, alright. I'm not going to equip. Just going to keep holding open Pyroblast and try to shut off his Dig Through Time. If he has one. Next turn we get to equip. I mean, he's basically dead, unless he has a good string of stuff. But Blood Moon actually puts a tax on him too. Jite of your own, that's fine. Alright, let's hope this Bolt is lethal. Now we could just burn a Pyroblast here to make sure that we have enough attackers, but he just concedes in response. Alright, well, that was all 4 rounds. We'll be right back for the conclusion.